Good evening, guys. It's good to be back again. Let me give a brief preview of what this program is all about. When we advertised, we said netizens or the football community or anyone, the public at large, could ask us questions pertaining to football or soccer. And we will try our utmost best to answer these questions. And this is the first episode. And I have two colleagues here of mine, Ravi and Ram, who are going to pose the questions, and I will attempt to give you the answers. Now, a word of caution. There are some questions here which needs further elaboration, which I'm not going to go into detail today because we have got two more other programs on the same platform. One is the Bites, where we talk about very particular topics and we go slightly into detail. We will touch these questions if it is going to drag on long there. And then we have another question which we have in-depth discussion with experts from the industry. That is on every Saturdays, and it will be published the following week. In that segment, we may attempt to discuss the topics that you guys have posed in a much more in-depth manner. Okay, so with that, now back to you two guys to pose the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Subra, and it's good to see you again. I have two questions here. One is from Mr. Christopher Russell from Jamaica. Now the question is, why hasn't the country made any headway in its regional zone, and does the country have a football culture?
Okay, now the first one, yeah, whether we are making headway in our zone that is in Southeast Asia. The Football Association of Malaysia is trying its level best to put us back on the right track, but sadly, it's not working, or it doesn't seem to work. There are a lot of challenges in Malaysia, politically at the moment, the COVID and so on. But let alone the COVID situation, even pre-COVID, we were still struggling. We are coming out with a lot of short-term, haphazard plans, which are, to me, in my opinion, which have not been well thought of, because I think we should brace for a long-term plan and taking into consideration of all the stakeholders. And that is the actual reason why we are not heading anywhere yet. And to be honest, I think it looks like we are sliding further down. But the football doctor has several programs which we are going to look at details of what should be done, and share our views and thoughts so that it could help in the development of the country in the years to come. The second question is culture. Well, we are only 64 years this August of independence. Football started just a couple of years before, somewhere around 1948, when the British were here. And the football culture, although it is the #1 played game, I wouldn't say we still have a playing culture. I think culture comes from practices and number of years that we have been playing. But sad to say, we do not have still a footballing culture, which I would say that we could follow through. Yeah, so we are still looking out for something in that nature. Yeah, and I hope soon, maybe many years from now, maybe 10, 20 years from now, we would have something called Malaysian football culture. Sad to say, I mean, to my knowledge, I wouldn't say what we have is a footballing culture, because it is haywire. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Subra. Now, the second question comes from Mr. Zaid from Subang. He posed the question, how long more do we have to endure our failure at international level?
Well, somewhere in 2014, Malaysia said we will qualify for the World Cup. 2014 has passed. Then they came out with 2021. I think 2021, the COVID came and it doesn't look. And in 2018, we came out with F30. F30 is a program where I think in 2030 we would qualify for the World Cup. I doubt that we will ever qualify for the World Cup in 2030. How long do we have to endure? I think I always look at Japan. Japan came to Japanese Football Association, sent about 40 over personnel to Malaysia to study our semi-professional league in 1994. And then in 1995, 94, 95, Japan established J-League. Today, what they did was they took the good points from our league, semi-professional league, and they omitted the ones that doesn't suit them. Then they drew out a 100-year plan, which started somewhere in 1993-94, and they said in that 100 years they would win the World Cup by 2093, if I'm not mistaken, and they are actually heading in that direction, because they started in 1994 to qualify for the World Cup, and ever since they've qualified, and we all know the progress Japanese football has made. A country like Japan, which is advanced, had a 100-year plan. My question is, why is FAM only with a 12-year plan? Japanese clubs already have now in their midst a very good established organization in clubs, at club level. They have a structure. All they got to do is keep head towards the plan. But Malaysia, on the other hand, our club structure is not in proper state. It is not in proper place. So we are not in a position to say that we will qualify in the next 20 years or 30 years. I would suggest that Malaysia has a 50 to 100-year plan. And we have to diligently follow it. Malaysia has got a trend where, one minister makes a ruling and he makes something, and then when he leaves, the next guy comes, that is thrown in the dustbin, and he comes out with a new plan. And that has been happening even in football. When the president changes, the whole idea changes. But what I would say is, there's no harm in changing of presidents, but I think an idea has to be followed through. Definitely it has to be enhanced. So if we have a 50-year plan and everybody embraces the plan and we work towards that plan, I'm sure we will hit somewhere. So how long do we have to endure? I think for the next 30, 40 years, we have to endure this slide before we can come up again, provided that the powers that be can make the necessary changes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Subra. Now over to Mr. Ravi.
All right. So the third question is, it's broken into a few like sub questions to this.
Okay.
So this is from Mr. Navalat. So the third question goes like this: what are the plans that national body has to adapt? Do they have to concentrate on grassroots? A.
Okay, I'll address that first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think earlier I made what do you call video with the 7 pillars of football. Yes, grassroots and youth is an important, vital part of development. They have to address it. They have to address every aspect of grassroots and youth development. That means coaching, coach educators, players, competition, education, and so on. Yeah. So yes, you have to address that. What's the next one?
The second one would be in the venture of what are the plans FAM has in terms of expanding coaching level in terms of qualification for grassroots coaching?
Well, at the moment, they don't have any. I do not know if they have come out with anything new yet. But from what I know, they have a 2-day seminar, which is insufficient. They should come out with a full-fledged coaching course, looking at every aspect of grassroots and youth coaching. Mm-hmm. That should be in place.
How about scouts, expansion of scouts?
Yes, talent identification is a vital part of football. In Europe, they have very many of them doing the talent scouting. Unfortunately, we do not have that. We do not train talent identification staff or scouts, and that's a sad part. And yes, FAM has to put in a lot of effort to create these scouts in every corner of the country so that talent is not missed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In what ways does FAM support teachers and sport enthusiasts into coaching and scouting?
Well, I think FAM has got the grassroots and youth seminar. They have got the D license. They have got the AFCC license, the B, the A, and the professional diploma. And it is open not only to the football fraternity, it is open to everyone, mm-hmm. Especially those who are involved in football. So anyone could apply and become a coach educator. Now, what I feel is maybe FA Malaysia should have formal discussions with the Ministry of Education, like once they had, and come back with these. Those days we had the FAM, MSSM coaching courses, the Coca-Cola coaching courses sponsored by Coca-Cola. I think it was good because during those coaching courses, they mixed the normal coaches with the school teachers. The teachers could learn from the coaches, and the coaches could learn organizational skills from the teachers, and it was sort of a mix and match. And it's a good part of the question. I think it is very important that we go back to schools. School football is dead now, except for the certain competitions, which I think it is just a mark in the calendar that they have done the show, but nothing good comes out of it, mm-hmm. As I can see. So I think it is a very good idea to promote these coaches, and even better, if FA Malaysia could go on to teacher training colleges or universities like UPSI and train this a group of teachers who are being to be posted soon, so that when these teachers are posted to the respective schools, they already have the basic qualification to start coaching, and then they can enhance themselves into the coaching fraternity later. Otherwise, I think if you don't start, you will never get someone out there. Yeah, so that's about it.
I think the last point here, it also sums up the whole thing in a way that can FAM set a KPI system to monitor the state league, so they can get new talents. Can they set?
Yes. Like I said, that is related to the, I think, second question, if I'm not mistaken, talent ID.
Okay.
If you have talent ID in every state, you need not worry, because the talent identification staff in every state will do their job during the leagues, not only the National League, the Under-19 and the Under-21 President's Cup League, but they will also go into schools competition and district leagues and so on, and look for talent, and then have the details back at FAM. And I think FAM should also go into a big exercise of data collection.
Yeah.
At the moment, we do not know how many players, the demographic of players. For example, how many Malays, Chinese, Indians between the ages of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, where are they situated? Which area? We need these demographics, because predominantly sometimes a lot of Chinese areas, the boys don't play football.
Yeah.
They are into basketball and badminton and so on. So we want to know roughly, and then we also want to know with this background, we can actually then put data into our database and say we have 330,000 under 12 boys playing football in Malaysia. We have 500,000 boys playing football. We have got 30,000 girls throughout the country. Most of them are in Sabah and Sarawak. This kind of details we need, because then we can liaise with the state FAs to conduct courses, to conduct seminars, and then we know what is our target. What is our target area? But at the moment, we do not know, because we don't have the data. So it is interrelated. The KPIs will be the state FAs, the FCs, to do their own data collection and then pool it together at the national database so that we know exactly where they are. It should be done not only for players, it should be also done for coaches and so on.
Awesome.
So yes, there must be KPIs, of course.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Subra. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
Over to you, Mr. Ram.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ravi. Yeah, I have three interesting questions coming from Mr. Rhys Harkers, who's based in Vietnam. The question number one goes like this, Dr. Subra. What is being done in the country to tackle corruption on all levels?
Okay. Now, corruption is a national and international issue. FIFA has got its mechanism in place. AFC has got its mechanism in place. FAM follows very strictly on that. We have brought in the integrity part of it. We have got the national police, who sit in the Security Council of the Football Association of Malaysia. They have got one department there, one part there who monitor all matches one way or other. They look for cues, they look for anything that is out of the blues that crops up. If it is something which is abnormal, if certain results are abnormal, then they investigate. So the necessary body, the necessary mechanism is in place to look out for, to weed out what you call match fixing and whatnot. Yeah. I'm not saying that they may not be, but so far we have not heard in the last couple of years. We have not heard anything. So the system maybe is in place, and we take it match to match. There are match officials being appointed. There are security committee members who are appointed from match to match. If there is any reports suspecting anyone from teams, from public, from anyone who makes a report, I think the FA Malaysia acts towards it, together with the help of the police and the anti-corruption agency. So yes, that has been done. Yeah, I think it is a commendable thing, and my advice to all officials and players is to refrain from getting in this kind of unlawful things.
The second question goes like this, Dr. Subram. Why does a country with the resources of Malaysia fail so miserably when it comes to academic development?
Yeah, the academy, way back in the year 2000 to 2007, we had 14 football academies. And due to financial constraints, you must understand this. In 2000, in the late 1990s, Malaysia signed the agreement with World Health Organization to do away with cigarette advertisement. At that time, Dunhill used to give Malaysia $10 million a year towards the development of our football. When that 10 million came to an end somewhere in 2004, we didn't have a replacement. We had sponsors, but that sponsors were not enough to sustain our league and our programs and so on. So the FA of Malaysia returned the academies to the Ministry of Education. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Education's job was not to maintain a football academy. And it went back to the schools, and that was the end of the academies. Now, although the club licensing established by the AFC and now passed on to the national associations, and we are following the club licensing rules and regulations, actually warrants for a club to have grassroots and youth development, and by right, clubs should have an academy so that the pool of players in that particular state are pooled together in their academy so that they can share the philosophy, they can share the system, they can share the methodology with those players. Unfortunately, only a couple of clubs, namely I can name some, JDT, maybe Selangor, maybe Terengganu, have got established football academies, but sad to say, overall, we do not have the academy system. And the word academy has been loosely used in Malaysia because someone who has a program on a weekend, on a Saturday and Sunday, which is actually they are called centers of excellence, calls it an academy. But I think it has been loosely and wrongly used. So yes, we have resources. There is no doubt about it. But we do not have resources in football. Yeah, national resources belong to the country, but a country cannot only be looking out at football. Of course, the country helps, the government helps, but by providing facilities and so on. But to give us money, then there are other sports, world-class sport, badminton, hockey, and so on, which should not be neglected. So in that sense, we do not have the support. But having said that, an academy is vital. The clubs shall be looking at it from that perspective, but the clubs are not looking at it. So the burden is upon the clubs to start this academy, and I think it's FAM's role to push them towards having an academy in the near future. Yeah, so that is what I can see at the moment.
Okay. And the last question, Dr. Subra. Why does the FAM not assist coaches from other ASEAN countries to be trained by the FAM coaching pathway, thus refusing to take advantage of a huge revenue source?
Okay. Now, we have not even trained our own people enough. Yeah, there is still demand. There are many more coaches who want to attend, but still have not got a chance to attend certain number of coaches because the number of coaching courses allotted a year is only that much. We have a 32 million population, yeah, and football is a business entity now. Everybody wants to dwell into football coaching and make some money out of it. And I think at the same time, the ASEAN countries, all of them, with the help of AFC and AFF, have got their own resources to conduct courses and so on. Why? So why would FAM want to? Because we ourselves do not have our pathway right yet. So we have to put our house in order before we can invite somebody to come and to do something for someone else or neighbor. So I don't think it is at the moment right for FAM to share our pathway because we do not have a right pathway yet. Our coaching pathway still needs improvement, still needs to be topped up. It is still diluted. So I think, in my opinion, I don't think Malaysia is ready to look into the ASEAN issue because we still have our local issue not being resolved. Yeah, so that's what I would say.
All right. So that's all for now, Dr. Subra. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. And perhaps in the next session, we will get more questions from our audiences.
Okay, thank you. And wish you all the best. And I hope for those people who have posed a question, you have some answers. But if you still feel that you want to reconvene some other questions, please send it to us and we will look at it in the next session. Thank you. Good night. Bye.